a ticket for texting? Just say you were texting 911. They can't prosecute.
That isn't what this is, and that's not true. I just want to ask you a few questions, so if you come this way.
I love that.
Yeah, have a seat over
Okay,
there.
great. This is fun.
Kuan Yin, please give us extra mercy.
Bring that drink in here.
Oh, you can finish it if you want. I'm not sick. I promise to tell the truth.
I'm dead.
Could you state your name for the record?
Madisynn King. Madisynn is with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not anything.
Could you just spell it for us?
Absolutely, I will for sure. Madisyynn.
Could you tell us about the night you participated in?
The best character introduced in the MCU in at least the last 5 years.
Definitely, man, definitely. I think like if they added to some extra like film or TV show as a cameo, everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Like they did with the Thor and his roommate, and in between after Ragnarok, it was like, or not before Ragnarok. It was funny because he has like this human roommate, and he's just over the top and obnoxious, and his roommate's just trying to be like a regular person, but their dynamic was so funny. And I think, I mean, like clearly people love this Wong and Madisynn thing. Like their chemistry is so funny because both the actors are hilarious. 1 and 2, you have this Wong who is very serious but unintentionally always funny, and you have Madisynn who is nothing but comedy. So I mean, I don't know. It's such a good blend. There's such a funny dynamic.
I mean, it is the dynamic also that makes it really funny, especially with
Yeah.
all this like spoiling of the Sopranos. And I know it definitely spoiled it for some of the people who were watching it.
Me.
Oh, you still haven't finished it yet?
No, neither my fiance nor I have finished the Sopranos, and she ruins it for us, and we're just like, no, no. Oh my god.
Is that even like so what's the ethic behind this, like for spoiling something on a TV show?
I don't have the rule book and I don't know the actual rules, but based on my experience on the internet, you have 3 timeline. You have 3 statute of limitations for spoilers. For movies, it's I believe 15 years. So like Darth Vader's Luke's father. You're fine. It's been way longer than 15 years. It's okay. For TV, it's 10 years. So I think it's okay. I think The Sopranos came out earlier than 2012. I think there's nothing I can do about it except just take the L. And for like anime or something like that or video games, it's 5 years. So you got to be up to date or you get left behind. So as mad as I am at Madisynn, I can't be that mad at her. She followed the statute of limitations. So
Not only that, because she was also really funny doing it. So you're like,
hilarious. Hilarious.
It's also nice how like when you look at like this is why we said that 4 wasn't that good of a movie because the jokes were really forced. But when you look here, it's like so funny and like everything worked really perfectly and it was so interesting and they were characters. The characters were interesting. So
I'm so interested in how this show retains so much of its Marvel identity, and they'll have only cameos, only superheroes, and having superhero world being like a major concept that everyone has to consider at all times. But also, it's not a down-to-earth show. It's just so much closer to Earth than like Thor or Captain America fighting off Hydra. Like, she's a lawyer. She has bills to pay. She has to go to work. She has to maintain a public image. She has to have a romance life. She has to keep her friendships intact. She needs new clothes for her new body. Like, these are regular people problems that she just happens to be a Hulk and is experiencing. And so I think it's so real. I think that's what makes her so fun and relatable to everyone. I love Jennifer Walters. I love that. I really like this show, and I really like all the characters in the show as well. They're all kind of realistic with that little tinkle of oh, here's some magic, here's some superpowers. Like the battle between Titania and She-Hulk in the comics historically has always been a fight about physical violence, like who's the strongest, who's got the upper hand here. Titania once got the Power Stone, and then she was breaking She-Hulk's fingers and then they grasped. But in this one, she's suing her for the rights to her name because it's a lawyer show. It's just down to earth. It's really cool.
and it's really nice how like it's a lawyer show, but you don't actually notice that it's a lawyer show because you do have a case every episode, because the characters are so interesting and you're so connected with them. You don't. It's just something taken with the flow of it. It's just you think it's just part of their life. You don't see it like the same way as you see like I don't know, Law and Order or other procedurals where it's just like you can like skip 10 episodes and like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the same
everything's
show.
it's going to be just like another new case for you to watch.
Exactly. I think that's also the benefit of having the benefit of having a 9-episode limited series versus having a 12-season series. I mean, how many different court cases can you go over in 12 seasons? The answer is a lot of them. The answer is so many. But in 9 episodes, you really have to pick what you're going to deliver to your audience. And the writers, I mean, whoever had this planned, it knows exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what Marvel fans have been watching and what they've been paying attention to and what their opinions are, because they're clearly on the internet. And they're giving the people what they want. I mean, this is exactly what you're supposed to do when you make a show like this, especially a character like She-Hulk who actively, historically, breaks the fourth wall in her comics and does it in this show seamlessly. But I have noticed something actually in the fourth wall breaks, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think she's almost delivering these lines when she breaks the fourth wall like she's telling a story, like she's describing the events as they're happening. And so like maybe that is the whole show. Maybe she's actually recounting events, and that's why it like breaks the fourth wall every once in a while, because she might not be talking to us. She could be talking to like a multi-dimensional entity who's watching everything. That'd be crazy though, wouldn't it? That would just be out of the realm of scope for Marvel, right? They wouldn't do that. They very well might.
Really?
Why not? The Watcher himself from What If is a character who watches things and he shows you multiple perspectives of different characters. And
but like in the comics, is she talking to someone or?
No, she's talking to like the audience. So she'll like,
okay.
Yeah. She's talking to the audience, but it's the MCU now, so it's a little different.
It is a little different. I want to talk about Wong. Why is Wong so likable? No, come on. Let's think about it. Let's brainstorm. What makes Wong a likable character? Why are people excited every time you see him? Like, where have you seen him so far? Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Yeah.
I think, and Thor. Thor Ragnarok. I think Wong being a sidekick has less narratively as a character who's constructed. I think Wong as a sidekick has less responsibility than characters like Doctor Strange or Spider-Man. And so while they make these big decisions and big mistakes, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, I'm looking at both of you, Wong's not really making those mistakes. He's not the most powerful person in the room, but he is very competent and he's reliable. And so you really can't be mad at Wong. So already, boom, you've removed a reason why people aren't mad at him, because you can't be mad at him. He didn't really do anything wrong. So, okay, so now why do people love him so much? Well, first of all, the writers devote so much effort into putting his jokes together because he's always funny. He's never annoying. You're always like, Wong is right. Wong is right about this, and he's hilarious about it at the same time. And the actor is also a funny person. And so when you put those together, I wonder how much of his lines he writes himself. A lot of times actors have a lot of control over on how they deliver their jokes. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. did a lot. He'd ad-lib a lot.
So you think the actor plays an important role in what makes the character likable in this case?
Yeah, I think the writers have such a good understanding of who the actor is and how he delivers his lines. When they write them, they're thinking that way, and so they're synced up. I think Wong is one of those characters who everyone involved with the character Wong is enjoying the character Wong, and so it's just a love train. They call him Twitter armor in the show because he is. No one's mad at Wong. Look at Wong. No, look up Wong is wrong on Twitter. There doesn't exist. You're not going to find a hashtag like that because everyone loves him. He's completely agreeable. He's created that way.
So in contrast, what about Chris Pratt's character, Star-Lord? What makes him? I think that he gets a lot of hate for what happened in Infinity War, but is he a hateable character or?
I think Star-Lord, as they have constructed him in the MCU, is a hateable character, and he was hateable even before the events of Infinity War. He's kind of like a douchebag. He's kind of like, he's funny, but he's also kind of like,
I mean, but
not so
Iron
serious.
Man. Iron Man is a big douchebag, but he was really likable. So
of course, but Iron Man's serious. Iron Man time and time again has been like, I will lay my life down on the line until I succeed in this mission. He's tried to quit being Iron Man like 4 different movies, and every time they bring him back out until he dies. You know what I'm saying? Star-Lord kind of is just going with the flow, and it definitely does his own thing. Just constructed differently.
Let's talk a little bit about She-Hulk's dating life.
Oh.
So obviously, for the audience, dating in LA is like special.
Horrible.
It's like nothing like anywhere you see in the world. So the question is, how is She-Hulk more interesting for men than Jennifer Walters? I mean, how can we make sense of it? Because I wouldn't want to date a Hulk personally.
As a person who enjoys strong people, I completely see the allure of being carried into a bedroom by a giant green person. That'd be pretty cool, to be honest. Also, you've heard it yourself. She's like, yeah, I'm always in shape. Like my hair is perfect.
So embarrassing.
Wow.
Clothes fit me well. I mean, these people are clearly into her. I think the interesting and weird part about this was that this guy was only interested in her as She-Hulk and not interested in her as Jennifer Walters. And I thought for a minute that maybe this was like they delivered a message wrong, but I realized like she never even began to present as Jennifer Walters. She never told him that's who she was. He doesn't know Jennifer Walters. He probably didn't even know she existed until she transformed the next morning. So he came up the next morning and sees this, and he's like, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you tell me this is who you are? I mean, she kind of catfished him. She kind of catfished. She made a profile for one half of who she is and then didn't talk about anything else. And so like they kind of have to discover that. That's just one guy though. That's just one person. Everyone else she was dating is awful. It's the worst dating pool. I was like, ugh.
Oh my god, that scene with the guy when with the suspense of who's gonna pay the bill.
Dude, that is so cringy to me. I don't understand. That's not true. I do understand. I was a bad dater. I've been on a lot of bad dates in my past, so I fully understand how those situations occur.
Explain.
You just swipe. If you're swiping, you're not really getting to know anybody. You're looking at 4 or 5 pictures. You're reading a paragraph of their information. You go to meet them, and they're not even close to what you thought they were going to be. Oftentimes, people put on a front on those first dates anyway. You don't really know this person until you live with them. So, like, you really are just hanging out with strangers time and time again on this first date. Sometimes it's really cool, and other times it's like, why am I here?
So I really understand his psychology. How come he was like so not interested? Like at least a guy would like at least try to want to sleep with her.
No,
right?
Self-centered. He thinks he's entitled to it. If he in his mind, if he hangs out with her and he basks in her or lets her bask in his radiance, then like he's entitled to sleeping with her at the end of the night or whatever. Or at least entitled to her paying for the bill because she's a lawyer.
I mean, I feel like the reason, like when I look at the casting, like he has like this long film director hair.
Yeah.
Maybe like he's giving me this like vibe that he's like, as you said, so self-centered.
Yeah, he's very, very clearly self-centered. He's kind of creepish. He's kind of a creep.
This has been so great.
Yeah, it really has.
They're so uncomfortable. This is like dating in your 30s though. Like when you're 18, 19, like it's especially in the United States, like a lot of men are expected to pay for things. But in your 30s, like who's paying this bill? We might have to split this thing. So for people to not,
Hey, we should do this again.
I don't know. There's like a weird who's paying stigma in the dating culture that people just are constantly trying to navigate and have really no idea what the next step is. I mean, it's really just a lack of communication. No one wants to talk, but
this look is really interesting from a storytelling perspective, because like when she does this and she's disappointed, I'm like, oh my god, I really feel sorry for her right now.
Yeah, you should. It's again, she's a very relatable character. I promise you, 1 million people watched that and they said, I've been exactly there. Exactly in that spot.
Oh my god.
The show's great. I mean, I really don't know how I don't know. I'm really enjoying this show.
Same. It's really funny. It's quick pace.
Yeah. It's moving along.
Yeah.
Every episode feels like a new thing. All right, we're going on to something else. But like everything that we've already established is still very relevant and even mentioned. It's very, very well written. The writers are clearly going in.
It's on the way to be a 10 out of 10 show.
It's really just a really complete. It's so complete. The show is so complete. I think it's easy to look at shows like this and to like in my mind, I kind of compare it to Winter and Falcon Winter Soldier. I expected that show to. The show did actually do a lot of reality checking where they were like, actually, you kind of work for the US government. Actually, there are fallout. There are going to be consequences for your actions. Actually, someone has to take this mantle. Actually, you need to really consider your family. Like, it takes a lot of things back to the real world. And Hawkeye does this as well. Carries that same concept forward. But I think this is less intense. Whereas you're not picking the next Captain America who's going to represent the country, like things like that. Or my life is on the line. I have to save this girl's life and train her to be the next big hero. This is kind of like, oh no, I'm trying to be a regular person, trying to have a regular life. It's just it's so complete. Everything it sets out to do, it does, and it does it very well. It's a very complete show. I really don't have a lot of complaints about this show. The CGI really is not that jarring. I don't know what people are talking about. It's real. Oh, I also have a giant TV in my house, so I guess that's on me. But I love the show. Yeah.
I mean, I already talked about CGI. It's not really a deal breaker for me.
It's really not.
Sorry.
You
just give me a good storytelling, and
that's it. And the characters are,
visuals are like secondary for me. So
exactly.
All right, that's it for episode 4. We'll see y'all in episode 5.